What is up, beautiful people? It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Today's Thursday. It's October 13th. We had a wild day in the markets today, but going to go over Tilray Brands stock. I want to go over a trade opportunity that I saw, and it ended up being perfection, over 15% worth of gains. So we're going to do some technical analysis. I'll show the trade opportunity that I was talking about. It had to do with the double bottom. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. All that good stuff. Doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, and you'll be notified on any future video uploads or when I go live. Diving into, I did do a market update earlier today. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you go check that out. It was a very important update, obviously the CPI data, and we had retail earnings. We also had the jobless numbers that were less than awesome. So all of that contributed to the weakness today. And I highly encourage you to go check that out because it's very good for people to see the whole macro perspective as well. Not just looking at, the Tilray chart or the MJ sector. I also did a video on Tilray Brands, the wild ride and the short squeeze, short-lived. And basically what I had predicted on Thursday happened on Friday. We had a gap up and then we had a sell-off, right? Because of the lack of support. So I highly encourage you to go check that out. But we'll dive into the Tilray chart here and I'll look at that trade that I was talking about. So what did I say the last time we were looking at Tilray? It was one of the stronger names because it was still in a daily uptrend. We had the low, high, higher low. We had a higher high here. That technically changed the daily trend. And then another mini higher low followed by a higher high there. So we knew that earnings were less than awesome as well. So we missed on revenue, we missed on EPS. So that was a sell the news type of event. And then we also had weakness in the broader market and we had no support on the daily time frame. And after a huge move like that, from that low of Thursday to the high of Friday, when we gapped up, the broader market was weak as well. So we had all the signs to sell, right? But that was about a 40% move and we had no support on the hourly chart, no support on the 5-minute chart. So I said, don't be surprised if we pull back to 353.25 and we ended up pulling back 23%. And then we started daily consolidation the following on Monday, having lost the low Friday, right? So once we lost Friday's low, we started daily consolidation, but we came down and we were still holding this higher low and higher high pattern, right? Anything above that 283 level here from the last higher low was just a daily higher low on any pullback once we lost the low of the previous day. So on Monday, once we lost the low of Friday, we started daily consolidation. We were just scouting a higher low compared to 283. Anything over that we were still in a daily uptrend. And then the clue here to enter on this, if you look at the low there, 283, that's the exact bottom. We actually technically, you could say a triple bottom there, 284, close enough, and then 283. But that was a monster trade opportunity because that was a perfect double bottom to the penny. You could have entered because if we lost that, the clue was we were still in a daily uptrend. And if we lost that, you could have got stopped out. So you could have set your stop just below 280. Essentially, you would have risked, if you put your stop at 279, you wouldn't even have risked 1.5% to make the reward here of over 15+%, right? And we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross closing at the high of the day with no resistance all the way up to 409. Essentially, you risk 1.5% to make upwards of 45%, right? So those are great risk to reward opportunities. Personally, I'm not much of a trader or a swing trader. I did take a swing trade in Tesla. I got it today at 208 and I set my stop under 200 and I'm in pretty good profit on that trade. Again, I don't trade very much. I don't consider myself a day trader. I don't like being a slave to the computer. I don't want to be, I don't like having a boss. And if you're a day trader, essentially your computer and the market is your boss, right? Personally, I don't need another dollar. If I ever make a dollar, if I never made a dollar in my lifetime, I wouldn't need another dollar, right? I'm content with what I have, and I amassed my wealth through different means. So most of it was through real estate and then crypto, and I've made quite a bit of money off the MJ market, but as of the last year, right, we've all been destroyed. So I'm with you on that. I'm definitely down long-term, big time in my long-term accounts, my short-term accounts, and my MJ, but I'm just dollar cost averaging, and I was down for a long time. I'm just being brutally honest with you guys and gals that, I was down for a long time on crypto in 2019 and 2018, and everybody said it was, a facade, it was going away, it was, it's a scam. Everything that you can imagine was thrown at me, right? And all the reason to sell. And I held through that, and Bitcoin went from all the way from $3,000 to $70,000, right? And there were some coins that went up 50 to 100x. And why am I talking about that? Because I think right now we're at the point where we're going to see 25, 50, maybe even 100x opportunities from these lows. The great thing about these low prices is that it's not going to last forever, right? And if we just take a look at Tilray, for example, from current levels, from where we closed today, if we go back to the highs of February 2021, that's a 20x. That's almost a 25x. If we go back to all-time highs, that's a 100x. So a $1,000 investment, if Tilray goes back to its all-time highs, that would be $100,000, right? How many of those do you need to change your life, right? How many thousands of dollars do you need to allocate? You don't need to allocate, $50,000 into Tilray, because the fact of the matter is this thing could easily go back to its all-time highs. If the U.S. legalizes, I could easily see Tilray at $100, right? It's not going to happen next week. It's not going to happen next month. It's probably not going to happen. It could happen in a year. We know how irrational markets get, and we've seen those 50, 100x in such a short time frame before, but I haven't seen anything do that in under a year usually. There's probably an odd case that we could find, but I would say over the next 1 to 3 years, there's a very good chance that Tilray is going to $100. And again, I'm not trying to give hopium and all that stuff, right? Like, it's just facts. It's reality. We were just at $67 on February 2021. Okay, and that was off the back of hopes of U.S. legalization, with the Democrats taking control of the Senate and the House, right? So, and they were viewed as the favorites for legalizing, right? So the fact is, that was just on hopes. And now we're at even lower prices. So essentially, you're back to all-time lows. The all-time low is 243, and we got as low as 265, right? So the common theme right now in MJ is everything is testing their all-time lows or setting new all-time lows. And we're down about 80 to 90% plus from the February 2021 highs. But the great thing about a prolonged bear market, the great thing about bear markets in general, is that's where the wealth is made. That's where you can become wealthy. And in a bull market, you can buy and sell, and you can make money, you can get rich, but where you really generate that life-changing opportunity and that wealth is at these absurdly low prices, near all-time lows. And when we're setting new all-time lows, obviously MJ isn't going anywhere, and neither is Tilray. I believe Tilray is going to be a top 5 MJ company globally. I think there's going to be 5 to 10 companies in the global scale, right, in MJ that are going to really run the industry. There'll probably be one in retail, a couple in retail, a couple in CBD, and then, a couple producers in the US and a couple producers in Canada. That's just my opinion. And of those, I think that Tilray is going to be among the top 10, maybe even the top 5. And if that was just on hopes of legalization at $67, imagine what's going to happen when we actually legalize, right? So like I said, I think that with Germany and Canada right now, they have a foothold. Tilray has a number 1 position in Canada in terms of rec sales, and they're number 1 in Germany with a 20% market share, right? So we just have to be patient. Unfortunately, it is what it is, and all of MJ right now is down, but that was a monster trade opportunity. Let me know if anybody took a trade off of that double bottom, but a super clear and obvious trade. We were still in a daily uptrend, and we, to the penny, double bottomed, and from there we started the daily bounce, and we still could go from the high of the day today. We could still see another 25% of upside here with a lack of resistance, and the market started to rebound quite nicely today after that CPI, after the inflation data. Put in a different sense, not everybody understands what the technical jargon means, but essentially the inflation run hot, right? And we're just expecting everything to bottom out over the next couple of weeks. I think that we could see one more leg down in SPY, the S&P 500, the broader market, which would translate to more downside for MJ more than likely. Of course, news can change that, but just prepare yourself for two more potential legs down in the next couple of months, in my opinion, before we see a massive rally into the end of the year in the S&P 500, the broader market, and more than likely into MJ, as we could see safe banking and uplisting a real possibility. I think it has about an 80 to 90% chance on passing before the end of the year. Going to end it there. Thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Power Group. If you could like the video on your way out, I would appreciate it. Share the video with anybody that might find value, and we'll see you again on the next video update.